Welcome to Barista Confessions, a podcast where you learn what your favorite barista thinks about you, the customer. My name is David, host of the show, and in each episode we bring real stories shared by real baristas who are tired of putting up with your bullshit. So please, grab a seat, pour yourself some coffee, because today's story is going to be a crazy one. Hey guys, welcome back to another exciting episode of Barista Confessions. Today's episode is going to be a story that I actually enjoy telling people because of the reactions that I get when I tell them to them. So the episode's called Dry versus Wet Cappuccinos. I don't know where your minds are going, people, but stop with the 30 thoughts. Before I get into the story, let me just explain what a cappuccino is if you're not familiar with a cappuccino, if you never really order it. So a cappuccino was originally introduced in the early 17th century. The name comes from the Capuchin friars in reference to their religious habits. Today's cappuccinos are made with espresso crema. The crema is the little brown foam that sits on top of a shot of espresso, steamed milk and topped off with foam. Typically, it was appreciated in Europe, Australia, and South America, but it really increased popularity here in the 1990s in North America as higher-end coffee houses started to open up for business. And typically, it's about 6 ounces liquid and 6 ounces of foam. So it's a very sophisticated beverage. I've seen a lot of people really order it and to enjoy it because it looks cool. It's like a little bit of liquid and a lot of foam, and then especially if you make the foam really well, it gives it that really nice creamy texture. It's absolutely delicious. And there are some variants that you could order as well. There's two, which are the wet cappuccino, and that generally has a little bit more liquid, about roughly 2 ounces or more, and less foam. So it's very similar to a latte, and it's enjoyed by people who enjoy lattes. And the name actually originally was Cappuccino Chiaro, which translates into Cappuccino Light. So again, it's kind of like a latte, but not really. And there's the other variant, which is a dry cappuccino, which is more foam and less liquid than a standard cappuccino. It's liked by customers who enjoy macchiato beverages. For those of you who don't know what a macchiato is, it's shots of espresso with a scoop or dollop of foam. Very delicious, especially if you like strong flavored coffee. And it was originally called Cappuccino Scuro, which translates into dark cappuccino. Maybe because the people that order dry cappuccinos are very malicious and evil people. So this actually leads me into the story. And this happened about 2 years back when I was still working at my old barista job. I won't say where. Let's call it Green Bean and Tea Life. That's the name of the company. I'm using code names because I don't want to get sued here. And a lady comes in and she orders a dry cappuccino. And I've seen her before because she's come by often. And so I rang her up. I put on the computer that it was a dry cappuccino. So the barista made it for her. And the barista, was just chit-chatting with her. Typical protocol that baristas generally do behind the bar when the customer's kind of like just waiting around for their beverage. If they're not on their phone or on the computer or whatever. And so she hands off the beverage to her and says, "Oh, here's your dry cappuccino." And so she picks it up and she says, like, "Why is it so light? Like, there's nothing in it." And the barista explains, like, "Oh, well, you ordered a dry cappuccino. So a dry cappuccino is cappuccino that has less liquid. So it's mostly foam, similar to a macchiato." That's what she told her. And the customer got pissed off, like, really pissed off. She's like, "No, you're lying to me. A dry cappuccino is supposed to have more milk." And the barista asked, like, "You meant a wet cappuccino. A wet cappuccino has more milk and less foam. Is that what you wanted?" She's like, "No, I wanted a dry cappuccino because a dry cappuccino is supposed to have more liquid and a wet cappuccino has less liquid. It's more of a styled like a macchiato." So this lady clearly has her terminology in reverse, and it really just irritated us because she was so dead serious on fighting us to prove us wrong, even though we were in the right about the correct terminology. And it really surprises me that people come in and, like I said in the last episode, sometimes want to fight you when you're just trying to do your job and correct them so you can make them happy and they can enjoy their beverage, because these beverages aren't cheap. They're like $4, $5 even at some of the higher end coffee houses. And she was just dead serious, just like, no, you guys are fucking retarded and you guys don't know what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. I was like, whoa, dude, like, chill out. We just told you what the correct terminology is, and we're willing to remake the beverage for you because that's what you wanted, essentially a wet cappuccino chiaro, if that floats your boat. But she just was not having it. And I don't understand why jobs as in customer service, particularly baristas, because people that come in to a cafe or a bar or wherever want to pull shit like this and make us feel bad when we're just trying to do our jobs and do things the right way. And so what happened was my barista went ahead and remade it for her and just killed her with kindness. Again, just explained to her what the stipulations were for each. And she says that next time, just order it as a wet cappuccino because it has more liquid and a dry cappuccino doesn't. And she's like, I'm going to call corporate because you're being rude to me. And it's just like, no, she wasn't being rude to you. She was just trying to tell you what the beverage stipulations are, so you don't sound like a jackass when you come in the next time and order this beverage. Because seriously, like, who the fuck thinks that the term wet means dry and dry means wet? I mean, you could figure out just by hearing the word what's what. It doesn't make any sense. It's like I've had people come in before and order, like a dry latte. And it pisses me off because it's like, okay, what the fuck are you doing here? It's like, do you want a cappuccino or a macchiato? Because that's what you're essentially ordering. And they're like, no, I want a dry latte. So I make a dry latte. And then they get pissed off. It's like, oh my God, like this is not what I wanted. It's like, but you ordered it, dude. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say here, people, with this story is that you should really, if you don't know what the terminology is or what the terminology means, or you have a rough idea, but you're not 100% sure, ask your fellow barista, your friendly neighborhood barista who's there to put a smile on your face, because that's our job. We're there to basically make you feel happy and make you feel welcome to these establishments that could be like, say, a home away from home or a place away from the office or your own little special place. And I guess, now that I look at it, maybe that's why people do order dry cappuccinos or dark cappuccinos, as you want to call them, because they are people that pull shit like this and they will make a big deal because either they want to try to get stuff for free or they don't want to acknowledge the fact that they themselves are in the wrong. And like I've mentioned before, the customer is not always right. And in this case, again, this isn't the prime example that the customer is not right. So let's recap for a second here. So a cappuccino, again, it's just espresso with steamed milk and a lot of foam. The wet cappuccino is more liquidy, less foam. A dry cappuccino is the exact opposite, more foam, less liquid. So based on that knowledge that you now possess, next time you go into a cafe, please make sure you order what you want to order, because if you order a wet cappuccino expecting it to be a latte, then you're going to be disappointed. And if you order a dry cappuccino expecting it to be a macchiato or the opposite, a wet cappuccino or whatever, you're going to be disappointed. Always ask questions to your barista when you're not sure, because they will be more than happy to answer them for you. And then none of these situations would happen and you would leave satisfied with your $4 purchase. Well, that's all the time I have for today. Thank you guys so much for listening. Go ahead and subscribe to us on iTunes and leave us a review. It'll really help us out a lot. Follow us on social media, #Barista Confessions. And remember, to my fellow baristas, stay frothy. See you guys next time.